President Trump faces a big test on Tuesday, and it comes at a critical time. On Tuesday, Republican voters in Georgia will go to the polls in a series of primaries. Of course, former President Trump's name isn't on the ballot, but he does have a lot on the line. Georgia has been a vexing state for Trump. He lost it narrowly to President Biden in the 2020 election. And after doing so, he made a lot of efforts to try to overturn that result. But interestingly, elected Republican officials in the state withstood Trump's demands. Among them were incumbent Governor Kemp and the incumbent Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Raffensperger, in particular, even received a phone call from Trump, who was still president at the time. Trump implored Raffensperger to find a sufficient number of votes to overturn Biden's margin. Raffensperger declined to do so. But Trump is out for revenge. He has backed primary challengers to both those men. In the case of Kemp, Trump has thrown his support behind former Senator David Perdue. And when it comes to Raffensperger, Trump is backing his rival, Congressman Jody Hice. But so far, things aren't panning out exactly as Trump would like. In particular, Kemp has a very large polling lead over Perdue. In the Real Clear Politics polling average in the middle of last week, Kemp was leading by more than 20 points. Polling, as you might expect, has been more scant in the Secretary of State's race, but it appears that Raffensperger and Hice are basically in a dead heat. Not a terrible outcome for Trump, but certainly one that suggests he can't simply anoint his favored candidate as the winner. And the former president does have one clear bright spot in Georgia. Herschel Walker, the former football star, is expected to win the Republican Senate primary in the state easily. The bigger picture here is that this all comes against a backdrop where Trump is trying to show his influence in the Republican Party. But he's had a mixed record so far this primary season. The former president has scored some big victories. Probably the most well-known one was the author J.D. Vance, who is now the Republican Senate nominee in Ohio. But just a few days ago, Trump had a much more checkered or mixed night in primaries in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Idaho. In Pennsylvania, the biggest race of all was not decided at the time we're recording this video. But what is clear is that Trump's pick, Memo, will at best eke out a very small win in the Republican Senate primary in Pennsylvania. In North Carolina, the controversial Congressman Madison Cawthorn lost despite Trump's backing. And in Idaho, the Republican governor rebuffed a challenge from a Trump-backed rival. Now, it wasn't all doom and gloom for the former president. In Pennsylvania, for example, Doug Mastriano is now the Republican nominee for governor. Trump endorsed Mastriano a few days before the primary. More to the point, Mastriano is a very Trumpian figure. He has propagated the same false claims of election fraud as the former president, and he even went to Washington on January the 6th, though Mastriano says he did not enter the Capitol itself. Trump is largely perceived to be trying to demonstrate his power in the Republican Party in advance of a possible attempt to win back the White House in 2024. In that effort, it's important for Trump to demonstrate just how much muscle and influence he has with Republican voters. But how much does he have, really? The jury is still out on that. But one thing is clear: we will have a sharper picture as to the former president's influence once we get the results from Georgia this Tuesday coming.